Now there's a way to check the stance, because so much of the success around the greens is stance related, that I want to show you a great way to find your stance. It's a little tricky sometimes when you're by yourself and you don't have a great reference for where you're going to find that stance exactly. So here's a great way to find it. What you're going to do is you're going to take a couple of clubs, and that's going to help you to establish your stance. So I want you to imagine the target line, and whenever someone mentions the target line, that's from the ball to the target. So you're going to find that target line, and you're going to put a club down right on it, just like that. Now, you're going to take another club, and you're going to put it perpendicular to that target line, just like that. So from here, I'm going to start by standing pretty narrow, not much wider than a club head distance apart, and with the ball directly in the center of my feet now. I don't need this club at the moment. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn both feet so that this foot is now touching the club. So I've turned both feet just like that, so they're both pointing in the same direction. And now this toe is touching this club that was the center line. The new center line is up here, if you will, in front of the ball, like that. So this sets me in the right position. It's giving me a nice reference for where I'm going and where the ball position is. Now all I have to do is lean a little bit onto my left side. That puts the handle forward, and there's that belt buckle facing toward the target a little bit. And now I'm in the stance that I want to be in to hit this shot. A little movement onto the left side, swinging it with the arms back and forth, and there she is. So that's a really great way to find your stance, and really important to get that stance consistent. Most people who struggle around the greens, even very good golfers, stand a little bit incorrectly, where they'll be standing with the ball too far forward and the handle too far back. You know, I was working with a very good friend of mine, Tom Lehman, on the PGA Tour, and helping him with his putting game at the time, and he was in a playoff in the World Match Play against Ernie Els, and he came to the first playoff hole and had a chip shot. It wasn't a tough chip shot, a little tricky, and I was standing directly in front of him in the gallery, and as he set up to hit it, I thought, oh no, because he stood with the handle almost back, the weight was a little bit back, and he hit the chip shot, and it did roll out pretty close to the hole. A little bit of a tricky putt, but he made it. And I asked him after the round, I said, how's your chipping been lately? He says, my chipping is terrible. I can't even chip it on the green half the time. Well, of course, he was chipping better than that, but to his level, it wasn't quite right. So I did mention about the stance and how it was hurting his ability to make that contact, and that did help him, luckily. So even the game's very best players can get some of these factors wrong sometimes. Now, on a shot like this, I do have some choices about where to land the ball. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So I want to review that in just a moment, and we'll take a look at how to find that right spot.